My name is Jane Faulkner. I am co-chair of the SIG, and Thomas, my other co-chair, will be joining us shortly. He's got another meeting that backs onto this one, so he's going to be a little bit delayed. Good to see so many of you here. So far, we have 52 participants, which is amazing. For those of you who haven't joined our SIG and would like to be part of our mailing group, you can sign up via your EAHIL account. If you don't know how to do that, then just get in touch with myself or Thomas or Shona or Kritzia, who are the co-secretaries of the group, and we can send you some information on how to do that. We've got quite a packed meeting, so we're most of the meeting will be taken up with information about the different projects. And Kritzia has just put a link to the membership page in the chat. So if you want to sign up for the SIG, just click on the link in the chat, and that will help you to sign up. Thank you, Kritzia. So yeah, most of the meeting today will be taken up with updates from our current projects that are happening. But please stay till the end of the meeting, because we have a couple of upcoming events that you won't want to miss, and we deliberately put that announcement at the end to make you have to stay till the end of the meeting, but it is worthwhile waiting to find out about them. As far as the meeting goes, can you all make sure that you stay on mute, because there is so many of us in the meeting. There will be opportunities for you to ask questions and give comments. Can you please just raise a virtual hand if you want to ask a question, or put your question in the chat and we'll pick them up at various points throughout the meeting. Thank you very much. So the first thing on the agenda is just a quick update on what we've been up to on the SIG throughout the past year. And it has been very much an emphasis on the various projects that are happening. So we've been setting up the project teams, meeting with the project leaders, and recruiting volunteers to work on the various projects. So there are still some vacancies if anybody's interested in getting involved in any of the project groups. So if you go to the SIG's webpage, and I've put the link there on the slide, and there you'll find a link to a document that's got a list of all of the projects and the members of the projects, and it's highlighted where there's vacancies. And then if you get in touch with the project leads, if you want to volunteer, that would be great. And as I said, we have some upcoming events which we've also been organising. So we have 7 projects that are currently running, and we're going to have a short presentation from a member of the project team for each project, and there'll be an opportunity for people to ask questions after each presentation. They're very short. Obviously, we've only got an hour and there's 7 projects. So as I said, if you can put your questions in the chat or raise a virtual hand if you've got any questions. So the first project is about mapping journal requirements for systematic reviews. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that Nelly and Martha can share their screen and slides. I'm not sure which one of you is sharing.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. I will share my screen. Just a second. Okay. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Let me just do it this way. Okay. Thank you, Jane, for this kind introduction. Thank you for the possibility to talk about the first sub project of this SIG. So I'm also very happy that Marta is joining, and also my colleague Miguel is also joining. We are working together on this project, but we have a lot of members in our group, so they are listed here, but please do not hesitate if you have interest to join. If you can add something, please let us know, and then we keep in touch. So our project is about mapping journal requirements for systematic review searches. So we will focus on author guidelines, because Marta, Miguel, and I had the possibility also to join the physical EAHIL conference last week, and there was a lot about how the searches were described in the systematic reviews itself. That is not the purpose of our project, so we will check the author guidelines, so from the publishers, the journals, in terms of, for example, the systematic review searches. So a little bit of background. Marta did already a very nice work a couple of years ago. And actually, to say it very short, it is a kind of an update of what she's done then. And it would be nice also to publish it officially, so that it also can reach a broader audience there. But we are very lucky that we can use the tools like for data extraction that Marta has tested before and also has used for her thesis. So the focus of our project is that we will look in author guidelines for how the search strategy should be reported. Also, we will include general guidelines, because in most cases that also includes information about the search strategy reporting. We will also include the registration obligations for the protocol. That was also a suggestion mentioned throughout the preparation. But we will not include other aspects of a systematic review. While extracting all data, of course, we will also collect the journal, publisher, publication ethics organization, and so on. And we will check, for example, the very traditional metrics like the journal impact factor and the impact factor category. That is more for data analysis later on. So this is my last slide already. What have we done so far is discuss a little bit who want to participate in this project. And also we discussed a lot about which subset of author guidelines will be evaluated. So we discussed that we will start from a set of published systematic reviews, but what will be the subset? So therefore we had some consultation rounds about the subject area, time frame, the source, the indicators to determine the subset of journals. So we are taking into account all what we've heard, and we will come to a draft description of the project in which we have included all those things, and we will also do some tests about relevant indicators to base the subset journals on. So that's a bit where we are right now, but please do not hesitate to contact us if you have comments, suggestions, questions, and also Marta, if you have something to add, please let us know.
I can come up with at the moment, since we're keeping it short, but obviously there's a lot of things to say here, but feedback is very welcome, we can say.
Thank you, Martha and Nele. We've got a few minutes if anybody's got any questions or comments. Nothing. Okay. In that case, project 2 is about reference database on articles about systematic search methods. But unfortunately, we didn't have anybody who was able to give us an update on that one. So we're going to go on to project 3, which is to make a list of people for peer reviewing search strategies for journals and coordinate the joining of existing lists. And Kritsia is going to give us an update on that. Thank you, Kritsia.
Hi, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen. Let me see here. Share. So you can see yourself as well. I will hide you. Okay. So for me, alas, there has not been so much progress. So project 3 is indeed about seeing if there exists a list for people or librarians, information specialists that can do peer reviewing of search strategies when a manuscript is submitted to a journal. So not at the beginning when you are starting up your search strategy, but doing the peer review when your manuscript is already finished and you're going to do the submission. We already know that there does exist already a database where you can have yourself noted as one available peer reviewer. So the aim there is to wait a little bit still based on the outcome of project 1, where we are going to have a look at which journals have mentioned something in their guidelines about the search reporting. And when we see there that the journal is not mentioning anything about involving a librarian or these kinds of things, we can also promote to the journal to ask librarians to do the peer reviewing of the search strategies. So that's a bit on hold. Another thing that I would like to start up is doing some kind of training for peer reviewing search strategies that are finished. So indeed, when the manuscript has already been written. And so I would like to start it up, but I was on maternity leave, so everything was a bit lagging. And also, since we are all volunteering and it's, it asks some work, I would like to mention that there's still a vacancy for a co-lead in this project. So if you're interested to help me, and to take the lead of this project to start something up around training for peer reviewing search strategies. Don't hesitate to contact me, put your name on the list. And also if you want to be one of the active contributors in setting up some kind of free training, then definitely also join our team. We still have to do a startup meeting. So then I can already contact you as well so that you will be able to attend.
Thank you very much, Kritsia. Has anybody got any questions or comments for Kritsia? Okay, well, as she said, they're looking for some contributors to the project. So, oh, Patrice has got his hand up. Patrice. Oh, you're clapping. Sorry.
Yes, indeed.
So yes, if anybody would like to volunteer to help Kritsia, either as a member of the team or as co-lead, then please get in touch. Okay, as there's no other questions, we'll go on to project 4, which is a worldwide database for search strategies. And Andra, I believe you're giving us a quick update on this one.
Hello. There's not much to say, I guess, but I will give you an update. The name of the project was Worldwide Database for Search Strategies. I guess the progress is that we now have a project team, which we didn't before. We managed to find a co-lead as well. Mark unfortunately can't be here because he's in Canada and it's 3 a.m. over there right now. But we've been meeting a fair amount since then. And we had one meeting with the group, but our official first meeting is actually next Monday to talk about the project and what we want to do next. But what we have so far is that we decided to make the project more realistic. So instead of a database for search strategies, we're going to put together an index of sources of search strategies that already exist. We don't want to duplicate what's already been done elsewhere, like the ISSG search filter resource. Different research agencies share their searches as well. So we just want to link to all of those, and including the new search archive from CABI as well. So we just want to have basically, what we realized is that we all use different sources. We all aware of different websites we go to, but not everyone knows of all of them. So we just want to make this central place that we can then point people to that then sends them elsewhere. As I said, we have 2 co-leads and 3 group members so far, very interested in extra volunteers. If anyone else wants to join, as we haven't yet had our first meeting to decide what we're doing, I guess after that we will know a bit more of what kind of thing we actually want to do and how might we want to present this list to the world. You know, it might be more advanced or just a Google Doc or whatever. And then based on that, we might require certain skills from people that maybe we don't have in the group yet, but that's yet to be discovered. Wicker, do you want to ask a question now, or would you want to come at the end of me talking?
I can do it at the end. I was just raising my hand.
Okay. I shouldn't have a lot more to say. So yeah, we are spread in 4 different locations geographically. So we identified our meeting time is 3:30 p.m. Central European time, if that gives people an idea whether they might be available for that or not, but that will be our meeting times through Zoom. And I want to, I guess, to reassure that besides using our knowledge of sources of search filters, we're also going to put calls out to this group and other networks to see what other people know about as well, not just our limited knowledge. So there will be a call out for that in the future as well. We're very interested in feedback, suggestions, and anything else anyone wants to contribute, whether they want to join the team or not. I guess some things we identified so far is that besides putting together this list of sources of search strategies, we also will need to have an element of educating people on how to use them, how to decide what's good for them and what not. So there might need be a little bit of extra work to come with it. And yeah, I guess that's it for now from me.
Thank you very much, Andra. Vishal, you've got a question.
Yeah, I was wondering, we saw an excellent presentation by Melissa Ralston and Neil Hathaway on a search archive live in Rotterdam. I don't know if you have been in contact with them, because what they actually developed is a sort of a database of search strategies.
We haven't been in touch yet because we still want to see what we're going to do, but we're very aware of it and definitely want to link to it. And that was our suggestion. If people wanted to make their search strategies available, that would be the place perhaps to point them to, because we're not going to deliver that through our project. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. But I think we will get in touch with them in the future once we have more of an idea of what exactly we're doing.
Yeah, Melissa's also discussing her project later in the EAHIL online conference. So, and what I think more in the future, what I've been discussing with Melissa already also, what I think we should stop doing is developing search filters for all topics in every interface. But what in the end would be ideal is that we just have a list of relevant mesh terms, a list of relevant entry terms, have a list of relevant title abstract terms that you could use, and then it's not that we as an information specialist decide how that is created into an actual syntax, but that the syntax is coming from the interface. That would be an ideal situation. You can just press a button and say, okay, I want this in Madline Ovid, or I want this in PubMed, or I want this, but that's something more for the far future, probably.
Let me just very quickly share what we've got so far. It's very much a starting work. You should see a Google Doc. This is basically what we're going to put together, a list of sources with the links. We have discussed that perhaps we want to add a bit more context, like what kind of search concepts they covered, and perhaps for what databases. But that's basically what we're going to do. We're not going to look at any more than that, because it's not something we can actually deliver as a project with the time we've got and all of that. I have to say that because we as the project team have access to this, I've already been using this a lot when I'm helping people with searches or where to start from. So for us, it's already been an extremely valuable source, and we're very excited to make this bigger and then share with everyone. But I think perhaps Wicker, what you're talking about is a little bit different. But I 100% agree that will be very useful, and it definitely has come up in our discussions as well. And Mark in particular has a lot of interest in that area too.
Chantal, you had a question.
I'm sorry, I just lowered my hand because I was going to put it in the chat because of time. But I was wondering if you are aware that a few years ago, a similar list was already made by 3 EAHIL old-timers. I checked there, none of them are here right now. I think it was presented as well a couple of years ago, and I can put the web page in the chat. I think they had a very similar idea to this, and they've already built a Google Docs that's public as well. So.
That sounds great. Thank you for sharing. I think most of us in the project are new, only for the last few years in EAHIL, so we weren't aware of that. And yeah, that sounds great. And also the project didn't come from us. We just inherited it from whoever came up with it. So yeah, thank you very much. That's very useful to have. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, thank you, Chantal. Oh, and I see that Chantal's put the link in the chat. Thank you.
I guess the only other thing to add is that we did realize, just like that, this was put together a few years ago. Whatever we put up together as well, then it will come a thing about maintaining it and keeping up to date, and that might be beyond the project and something we may want to implement or not based on what we decide to do next. But yeah, because we don't want this to keep coming up every 3 years and someone starts from scratch again, for sure.
Yeah, thank you, Andra, for that update. Any other questions or comments on that one? Okay, let's go on to project 5, which is about the visibility of evidence-based reports, such as HTA reports and commissioned reports, etc. And Patrice, you're going to give us an update on this one, I believe.
Yes, I share my screen. Hope you see the slide.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for confirming. So hello, I'm Patrice. I will present the status of the project on behalf of Alicia because she's currently in a roundtable. She's the project leader, and the team is Rebecca and myself to complement. So visibility of evidence-based reports. The objective is to provide recommendation to enhance the visibility of evidence-based reports. And as a side objective, in fact, also to identify good sources for evidence-based report retrieval. The scope has been refined. We decided to focus on the health technology assessment reports to make it as a pilot, because for practical reason, it's easier to focus on one type of evidence-based report. And we would like to then make possible to use this exercise for other kind of evidence-based reports. Regarding the progress, in December last year, we had our kickoff meeting and we compiled the identified sources of evidence-based reports. It helped us to prepare the next step, which was in April. It was identifying the technical aspects and also to define the methodology. The technical aspects, I mean, for example, the standards, the Open Archive Initiative Protocol for Metadata Harvesting, OAI-PMH, or the Digital Object Identifier, the OI. Those are interesting standards because it helps to have the description of the reports published at several places, while you only encode information once. So this is very efficient. And those protocols are used in the sources that were identified. So I provide some names above, like base search, cost sites, and so on. So it seems to be a very interesting option to take to make use of such standards. Also, we identified that the licenses can have an impact on the dissemination of the evidence-based reports and as such on their visibility. So those are the two aspects we would like to investigate. The methodology, we decided to have first a survey to learn about the production and dissemination of the EAHIL reports, then to build some use cases, among others, to identify how much it costs, not only money, but mainly human resources, how much time you have to put in such a project to have TOI for the report published by your organization or the OAI PMH repository. And finally, to deliver a report which would include some recommendation thanks to the use case, so the colleagues could identify the most appropriate approach for their situation. And as you can see, currently we are finalizing the survey. It will be an online survey hosted on the Lime survey platform at KC. We also identified the target groups, so of course EAHIL colleagues, but also various HT networks where we can find people involved in information retrieval. So those people could or respond to the questionnaire or forward the questionnaire to the appropriate person in their organization. So they would act as ambassador for our project. So that's where we are. What we expect here is to have the participation of all the group, but also all the EAHIL colleagues to respond to the survey, and also possibly to have some of them providing more detailed information. Sorry, to build the use case that will be very important to have a report with recommendations that are realistic and therefore we hope useful for most of the colleagues. So that was it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patrice. Has anybody got any questions or comments? So clearly you've got your hand up.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Patrice. Could you explain what you mean with evidence-based report?
Sorry, the sound is not very good on my side. Could you please repeat the question?
What do you mean with evidence-based report?
Okay. Well, this will be then my definition. The evidence-based reports, and if we take the case of the health technology assessment reports, those are reports that are based on the best evidence you can find. So mainly based on the literature. And therefore, it's also any kind of systematic review-based reports. I think this is a not too bad definition I could provide. Does it answer your question, or did you add other idea about what an evidence-based report would be?
Is this a report of the systematic searching, of literature searching, or what? What is the content of the report? This is what I am asking.
Okay. Well, in the case of HT reports, it's really a scientific report. So searching the literature is only one part of the report. Okay. You have usually a medical question, and the information specialists do provide their part with helping in identifying the appropriate evidence and sometimes also evaluating this evidence. But then you have what we call the clinical evidence and recommendation, and then also the more economical and practical recommendation to have the answer to the question. So more concretely, if there is a question about should we reimburse a new medical technology like a prosthesis or a drug, thanks to such a report, the decision maker have evidence-based information. Is it worth to indeed reimburse this new technology because it has added value regarding the existing solutions or not, possibly?
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions or comments for Patrice? Okay, in that case, we will move on to project 6, which is collaboration and sharing with sister organizations. And I am going to give an update on this one. So I will just share my screen. Oh, apologies, I've got a bit of a cough. So we haven't actually made a lot of progress on this project since the last meeting we had. We did have one meeting with representatives from sister organizations around the world. And then unfortunately, COVID got in the way, and we haven't managed to pick it up again. But we are looking to pick this project back up, and Alison Bethel has since also joined the project team. And we had a meeting in May last month to discuss how we could bring it forward, and we agreed that we would set up a second meeting with representatives from sister organizations around the world. So we're trying to get people from the Australian Medical Library Association, from IFLA, from the African Medical Libraries, from MLA, from Canada, and from EAHIL, of course. And we're looking to try and collaborate as a global group on areas where we feel that there's a global focus, and maybe having that global weight behind us might make some differences. So we're hoping if we can set up a meeting later on this year, that we will be able to actually agree areas that we can take that forward, and agree some actual tangible outputs from that collaboration that might actually help us to make a difference with some of the areas that we are all struggling with, or we are all needing training on, for example. So there's not a huge amount to report on this one, but if anybody's got any questions or comments, then let me know. Nothing, in which case I am also giving you an update on the last project, which is project 7. So I will continue on with that one. And we weren't actually going to start this project yet, because we felt that 6 projects was enough. But there were so many people who were interested in this one that we have started it off now. We only had our first project meeting on Tuesday, so we're at the very beginning of this one, but we had a really good meeting, and we came up with some aims and outputs, which I will share with you all. First of all, this is the project team. So again, thank you to everybody who volunteered to be part of the project. And at our meeting on Tuesday, we agreed 2 main areas of work which we're going to take forward simultaneously. The first is actually setting up a search strategy and a current awareness strategy to keep us up to date of searching and finding tools in R that could potentially help us with systematic reviews. So we're going to put our information professionals hats on and try and come up with some search strategies which we will share so that people can find these things. There are some people in the group, in the project team, who are already doing this, and some of us have no idea where to even start finding these things. So we felt it would be useful to have a way of publicizing this to the wider information professionals. The other thing that we are doing is we then want to map the tools that we find onto the information, the evidence synthesis steps that we as information professionals are involved in. So the first part of that is coming up with an agreed list of steps within the evidence synthesis that we're involved in. So obviously there's the finding search terms and compiling our search and deduplicating, but there's various other aspects of that as well. And the plan is that once we've come up with our list of steps, we will then map the R tools that we've found onto that so that we can see where there's gaps and where there's areas of duplication. We have had to put a bit of a fence around the project and just to make it manageable. So we are limiting the project just now just to R tools. So we're not going to be looking for other tools just now. And as I said, we're also just looking at the tools which we feel that information professionals would be interested in. So we're not looking at anything that's involved in things like data synthesis. We're just looking very much at this sort of searching, duplicating, maybe a bit of screening. We also are not going to be looking at providing support for colleagues who want to figure out how to use these tools. Again, we don't have the expertise within the group. You know, we're all figuring these things out ourselves. But you know, we could tell just from how popular this project was that there's a lot of interest within the profession on these things and on upskilling ourselves so that we feel more confident in using them. So our plan is to get in touch with the treadmill SIG to see if we can do something more long term in maybe signposting training opportunities, etc., so that we can upskill ourselves. And we're aiming to be able to present something at the Trondheim meeting next year. We're also keen to work with EAHIL to try and incorporate coding and programming skills longer term within the conference programs, because we feel that this is an area of skill where that we're going to be needing within the profession, and it might be a good idea to make that a bit more prominent within our conference programs. But again, that will involve conversations with people longer term. But we all agree that it'd be really worthwhile for more of us to get more involved in the production of these tools at the outset. So that is where we're up to with those projects. So again, if anybody's got any questions or comments. No. Okay, in that case, I will just go back to my previous slides. Just a moment. I've got myself, my computer's very confused and is putting things on the wrong screens. Let me try again. Okay. So thank you to everybody that's produced an update on their project. I'm really, really pleased to see how much work everybody's been doing. I think the outputs from the projects are going to be really useful, both within the SIG, but also outside the SIG, and hopefully we'll be able to publicize the outputs for the project so that you know, the wider profession will be able to make use of the outputs that we come out with. As promised, we've got a couple of upcoming events which you can mark in your diary. The first one is a webinar on Prisma S, which Shona, our co-secretary, is going to be leading with Melissa Rethelson. And that's happening on the 29th of September from 4 to 5 p.m. Central European time. So please mark that in your diaries now. We also then on the 11th of October are hosting a journal club, which Maria is going to be helping us with. And we're hoping that the journal club is going to be a regular event. We're starting off with this paper from the Journal of the MLA called Building Capacity for Librarian Support and Addressing Collaboration Challenges by Formalizing Library Systematic Review Services. So we will be circulating links to the webinar and to the journal club on the SIG email list a bit nearer the time. And we're hoping to record both events and make them publicly available. But it would be great to see lots of you at both of those things. So as I say, mark them in their diary now, and we will be sending an email round nearer the time with more information. So we have come to the end of the sort of formal bit of the meeting, so I will stop sharing. We've got about 10 minutes left if anybody has any questions or comments that they'd like to share with the group. Irma, hello.
Hi. It's more of a comment. Thank you for organizing this and for all of the presentation. I think what we've seen is how important it is to collaborate, not just within EAHIL, but also globally, because many of these topics, as we've discussed, there are other groups working on similar things, and so really pooling our resources is very important. And so I think it's a great opportunity within this SIG to do that. So thank you very much. And also I'm looking forward to the journal club and so on. I think that's going to be very interesting.
Thank you, Irma. Claire. You're on mute.
Hi,
Oh,
yeah,
there we go.
it's great to hear about all the projects. I just wanted to flag up about a project I'm involved with. It's not an EAHIL SIG project, but it might be of interest, and if anyone has information, it's around resources for lower middle income countries and whether they're using them for reviews or maybe for maybe it's not research at all, but using local information or statistics for informing decisions in these countries. And I'm wanting to put together a resource list of resources. So yeah, if anyone is interested, they can contact me or have resources available, because there's a lot that's out of date at the moment. And when people are coming to do systematic reviews, it's sort of knowing where to look and sort of how to search some of the resources. So any information that's out there, I'd be interested, and then it's going to be publicly available to share.
So are you looking for resources that people who are based in low and middle income countries can use, or is it resources of information about low and middle income countries?
It could be both. Primarily it's about finding research in those countries, so that's why it could be both. And I mentioned this at a Campbell information retrieval group, and there was I'll probably set up a Google Sites link so people can contribute, and I can send that around on the email.
Yeah, if you send that to Kritsia or Shona, they'll be able to circulate that around for you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Claire. Anybody else? Questions or comments? Igar, hello.
Hi, hello everyone. I'll just give a brief update from the treadmill SIG.
Oh yes, please.
With a couple of projects, I've heard that there's training needs. Obviously, get in touch with us and we can discuss. And hopefully, not before long. Or I was hoping that something will happen during summer. The CPD or the training events calendar will hopefully be up somewhere on the treadmill page, but that will be on the EAHIL site, and then you can either send me the information or I'll let you know how you can update the calendar yourself. And obviously, I'm also excited about the prospect of learning some art finally, and the peer reviewing search strategies as well. I think we could possibly set something up around this, set training session or something. But yeah, so the CPD events calendar is coming, and if you've got any proposals or any dates, just send them our way so that we can populate the calendar and let everyone else know. Thank you.
Thank you for that update, Igar. It's great to hear that Treadmill are interested in the same things as we are, and we'll definitely be in touch to see if we can take some of those things forward. Thank you. Anyone else? Nobody? Okay. In that case, I just want to say thank you everyone for attending. It's great to see so many of you come along, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the online EAHIL conference. Those of you who are doing the online one, I hope those of you who were at Rotterdam had a good time. Unfortunately, I was unable to make it, but hopefully next year I'll see a lot of you in Trondheim. So again, thank you very much, everyone. And I will switch off the recording now.